The reading read to us so clearly is Paul's letter to the Romans. And in this particular place, chapter 12, narrate what he calls the marks of a true Christian. Our theme for the year is wholesome health, which is also our theme in this gathering, because we choose that theme to be the one that runs across all our gatherings and all our meetings and interaction. This theme is coming at a time when we, as a nation in Kenya, and our people, and the church, and now in particular the Anglican Church, is part of our society worldwide, going through a lot of issues that affect the way we reason, affect our health, and especially mental health has become a very big issue. So when we talk of wholesome health, and we also reduce it to mental health, which is what we are celebrating part of this year, there are many things that contribute to that. But let me just paint the picture of where we are at as a people. This theme is coming to us at a time when we are experiencing the high cost of living. The inflation has gone very, very high. There are even proposals of increasing taxation and taxes and tax regimes in the country. We woke up to that horrific mass killings in Shakahola in the name of fasting and using biblical principle to exterminate people and communities and families. We are in a very heightened and tense political environment, unstable economy. We know in Nairobi we have been affected by many mandamanos that have gone, and not only in Nairobi, certain cities. And one of our bishops was really caught in this melee and injured. We are experiencing every day issues of homicide when we look at the newspapers, broken relationships at family level. There is now increased mental health and spiritual deficits in many ways. At the global scene, which also have, crept into our own society, we have this legalization of homosexuality as part of the norm in society and being pushed into the church, and now we are pushing it into our laws as a nation. We have normalized corruption, cases of nepotism and tribalism in appointments, and even in employment, even within companies and other sectors of society. Youth unemployment is still a big measure, a big issue. And today we have a lot of ready energy that can be misused in any place. And we have seen that, especially during Manabanos, that our young people are ready to be used to do whatever they want to do. We have climate change and its threats of drought. We have seen cyclones and typhoons in many parts of the world, storms, floods like what we have seen in Kenya, landslides, earthquakes, such as the one we saw in Turkey and Syria. There is a lot of talk of poor parenting all across. With no respect, we have now children that are growing with no respect to any guidance, be it at family level or in school. We are seeing a lot of indisciplined cases in our schools and colleges and universities because people think they know, even as children, they think they have rights and you cannot challenge them. We have a collapsed value system as a society. No one now corrects the other because I am right in my own way and you can't judge me. So the big word now, who are you to judge me? In the midst of all this that is happening around us, Paul called the Christian family to be different. One of the things that has happened when we woke up to this horrific thing in Shakahola, people are asking, where is the true church? Who are the true Christians? Where is the true teaching? Where can I go and get spiritually nourished? Who is going to be my mentor and my teacher? Who is going to be my spiritual leader? Because what happened is that a spiritual leader lead people to die and starve them to death when he himself is eating well. And people are asking, is Christianity not a scam? Is it true? Where is the truth? I've been confronted with these questions by the media and general public. Whenever I walk, people ask me, Archbishop, what is the church doing? What is church after all? Who are you? Who are we? Who can we trust? Who can we turn to? You know, in the build-up to the last year's election, the church and the religious bodies are one of the most trusted. But with this one incident that shocked the whole nation, people are now asking who can be trusted. And, you know, there is now a big talk on how to regulate churches. And I've been confronted many a times. I've been invited to the media, I've spoken about it. People are asking how can the government regulate churches. We made our proposal, and one of it was, let's do the way Michuki did with the Matatu Industries, when he formed them into circles, so that you have a body that can be held responsible if one member of that body has a problem. So we said, we have these Christian families, NCCK, KCB, CCB, we have the Evangelical Alliance with the African Institute Churches. Let every other person align themselves with that, so that when one member of those bodies err, then that body will be held responsible and they will hold to account. But one of the big questions is, what should be the criteria? How do we judge a true church from a false church? And the press came to me and asked, can you give a distinction between a true church and a cult? What are some of the features that we can see and identify that these now represent a cult and this represent a true church? Some of these questions are hard to answer because what defines church is the interpretation of this word. And this word has many interpretations as there are readers. Everybody reads and interprets the way they think and they feel. So I say, it has to border with how we interpret the Word of God and how we present the Word of God and how we do Christian worship. But one of the most identifiable features is that when the leader begins to change the object of worship from Jesus and God to himself as a person, then those are signs that it's no longer worship to God, it is worship to the individual. When the church becomes an enterprise that enriches the leader and not the institution to propagate the gospel, then we begin to see signs of the church being used as an enterprise. But how do you define is very, very difficult, because where are the lines and how do we draw the lines and who make the judgments and who can provide that parameters. With us and pronouncement that Christian churches and other faith has made on this subject of government regulation to churches, we have seen now the president appoint a team to look into it. We'll wait to see what will happen. But this morning I thought we can share this wisdom of St. Paul's when he wrote to the Romans and try to distinguish what can be said to be marks of a true Christian. Verse 9, he says, let love be genuine, hate what is evil, hold fast to what is good, love one another with mutual affection, outdo one another in showing honor. In showing honor. When the Mandamanos began, and the counter rhetoric from both sides of the divide in this country, we almost began to see a government and the opposition competing to do the wrong thing. And they were all competing to do the wrong thing, because when the planned invasion of Northland, with something looking like there is an approval from those who are in authority, it did not cancel the wrong and make it right. So two wrongs can never make a right. When the opposition was mobilizing people in the streets, that also turned violent and chaotic, and the other group also threatened to, outdo them by also sending their own to counter. We find systems that are competing to do what is not right. The Bible is telling us, if we have to compete, let us outdo one another by showing honor and respect and love and care. That should stand out as a distinctive measure of a true Christian, one who will say, I will not compete with you to do the same wrong, I will compete to do good to you as you do bad to me. Do not lag in zeal, be ardent in spirit, serve the Lord. Paul is calling the Christian family not to serve on their own accord, with their wisdom, with their understanding. He invites us to continue to cling to the source of all wisdom, God himself, who refreshes us through his Spirit. So be ardent, be zealous, do not lack in zeal, be ardent in spirit, and serve the Lord. Rejoice in hope. Be patient in suffering. One of the things that the picture was painting of what's happening around us, within and outside of this country, is a picture that leads us to hopelessness. And what we are seeing every day is that we are growing a generation that is becoming more and more hopeless. And that devastation and hopelessness is creeping in. It will be driven further by an economy that is not performing. Failed businesses will slide us into that side of hopelessness. Lack of faith and trust in any, belief in any God will drive us into despair and hopelessness. Any form of division always results in hopelessness. And hopelessness begins to define how people reason. And when people are trying to reason in hopelessness, the reasoning will be very devastating and dangerous, because they reach a place where they feel they have nothing to lose and they can resolve to do everything wrong, the wrong way. Hopelessness is dangerous. So Paul is saying, those who are in Christ Jesus, and the true mark of a true Christian is one with full of hope. So the church has now to step in a big way. I'm not sure how, but we must, to rekindle hope and give hope to a hopeless world. That should be our agenda as at now. Give hope to those communities. Give hope to those Christians. Give hope to those families. Give hope to the youth. Give hope to the young. Give hope to the children. And unless we, rekindle hope and do things that will give people hope, then the whole nation will be alive again. But if we allow hopelessness to slide us into, despair, then we will slide into oblivion. And I like how Paul, put together hope and patience in suffering. That yes, suffering brings hopelessness. But he says, rejoice in hope and be patient when sufferings come, so that you don't allow suffering to slide you into hopelessness and despair. Cling to hope even when you are going through tribulations and suffering and hard moments and turmoil and hard things. The only big ray of hope that God has given us from the month of March, we are coming from a very severe drought, is when God sent us rain. And went against the meteorology projections, because he kept on telling us, up to March, we are going to receive suppressed rains. Did you hear that? It's going to be suppressed. It's not going to be enough. So people planned quickly. And I think that message sang to many, and there was those who planted quickly. I went to my rural home, and our maize are now at west level, because people planted that time thinking it is going to be suppressed. Now, God went against the suppressed projection. He has given us enough. Have you seen how this morning it rained? That rain has given us hope. It is now green in the country. Yes, we lost a lot of livestock. We lost even wildlife in the wildlife sanctuaries. We lost food and food security. And if you could have imagined that Kenya by now is going to import, when our shilling has weakened against the dollar, and the dollar we are going to use to import food is going to, to bring more devastation to this country. So the ray of hope that God has given us is these rains. But it's also an indicator that God operates within the realms, even when things are hard and tough. So for us to be reminded to be patient in suffering is because in God there is hope. And in him, he changed hard situations into easier situations. Persevere in prayer. We are called to be a church that prays and Christians that pray and call upon God in prayer and in sincerity. So the only other thing that marks us to be true Christians is genuine prayer. Genuine prayer. The tragedy in Shakahola is people are led to die while praying. So people are still asking, which prayer? The one will pray until we die? Or which prayer? Is there a prayer that gives us hope? Which prayer? Does it heal? Does it change things? And the answer, the Bible tells us, it does. Contribute to the needs of others, and especially those who belong to your family. Not only your family, but the family of faith. Extend hospitality to strangers. So yes, we will look after one another, but we are also told, take on board the welfare of strangers as part of your duty if you are a true Christian who wear the marks of a true Christian. Bless those who persecute you. Bless and do not curse them. Rejoice with those who rejoice. Weep with those who weep. Live in harmony with one another. Do not be proud, but associate even with the lowly in society. The only way that can give a difference between a true Christian is when we are able to reach out to those who are in higher position and also to reach out in equal measure to those who are in low position. Does a church play within those realms that we play across? Or do we create classes that even in our pastoral care ministry, we only visit those who we think are of our class? Who do we pay attention to? Where are we found? Where is our ministry like? And the Bible is reminding us, it is not just those who matter, but also those who need from us. Those who need our care, those who need our support are also as critical. I once interacted with a preacher in one of these ministries who said all what he wants, because he wanted to come and plant churches in my home area, is to have a church whose members, about 50 of them, are the big wheat planters. Because in that, he can drive any type of car he wants to drive. So his objective is to look for those who has money, and those are the ones he wants to be his members. Because when he captures their mind, they will make him drive whatever car he wants to drive. That is the zeal he has. That's the drive. That's what's driving him into ministry. And the reason for planting churches is to plant churches where the benefit is his, not what those Christians will benefit from him. Are we different? That's the question. Are we different? As the Anglicans, in our pastoral ministry as bishops, who do we visit? Who do we go to? Even our clergy, when they do pastoral care and pastoral visitation, who do they visit? Is it only the families of those who are able to accompany them with something little when they go back home? Or they also go where they are expected them to bring something into that house? Where they are expected to come with a paper bag full of little things to that family so that as they pray, their family is also left with something for that night. The Bible is weighing us on a scale and asking, how do we view ourselves in a world that is completely spinning away from the will of God? We, as the Anglican now, the Anglican community, are struggling with this big debate. whether to accommodate and accept homosexuality as part of life and order in the church, or we will still love them and pray that they change even when they're in the church. Where are we at? Where are we at? Where are we at in the interpretation of the whole Bible? Now, proposals have already been made of changing, the Bible to create what they call a gender-neutral Bible, where any male name is removed and any female name is removed, and even whatever, name given to God that attribute to him is either as father or son, which are male in nature, has to be removed, so that we have what they call a gender-neutral Bible. And it was part of the discussion in the General Synod of the Church of England, which is now a live debate. Already in America and Canada, the discussions are completely underway. Now, the big question is, the Bible is about person stories. And these persons have names, and they are either female or male. So how will we narrate the story of Abraham, or Moses, or any of the prophets, or Esther, or Deborah, or Mary Magdalene? How do we narrate their stories? How do we tell Jesus as who? What will that do to the doctrine of the Trinity? How will we recite our creeds if we change all that? It will mean the whole doctrinal system of the church will be undermined and completely affected. So what the Bible is reminding us here is to be true to our faith and work with every person and be in every situation where God wants us to be, but follow God's guidance. And the uniting word here is love one another. And the word love cut across. It is what Jesus used to sum up the 10 Commandments. It is love that calls for care, the duty I care, the duty I'm concerned, the duty I want your welfare to be as well as my welfare, the duty of collective responsibility, even as a house of bishops, unless we are bonded by this word love, so that we have collective responsibility and love each other and support one another and build the church in that premise of love, we will not be doing the ministry of Jesus Christ. So as we gather these 2 days, let us explore all the things that we are looking at, but remind ourselves we have to bear the marks of a true Christian in a world today where the marks of a true Christian is said to be exclusive, discriminatory, and associated with prejudice and judgmental, so that when you defend your cause and the cause of the Bible, you are told you are not my judge. And because the Bible tells us the parameters in which we have to operate, to many now in the world, they say, then you are judging me, and I don't want to be judged. But the Word of God judges us every day. Let us agree to be judged, not by any one of us judging the other, but all of us in equal measure to be judged by God's Word. Let us pray. Father, we thank you so much for this moment you have given us to celebrate you and our fellowship together as the fathers in this church. We want to thank you, O God, for each and every one of us ministries in our dioceses, and with many challenges that we go through every day. Lord, you remain to be God. We have seen your holy hand, and we continue to invite you more and more to be in our midst, even as we serve. So, Lord, begin with us in all our deliberation and interaction today. May your name be glorified in this our gathering. This we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.